All right, fifth graders. Once you've finished laying out your floor plan and all of the different components of your food truck, the next step is that you are ready to lay out your pieces on your cardboard. That's the material we're going to be building the food trucks out of. So I am going to walk you through those steps. So I have my sheet of cardboard here, and I hope that you guys can see this. I think you can see the edges. And we are going to have to do some measuring with the yardstick. I am going to do mine in Sharpie so that you can see it, but you will do it in pencil so that you don't make mistakes, or if you do make mistakes, that you can fix it. So we said that our food truck pieces were going to be 8 by 20. So what we need to do is find 20 inches, and I'm going to mark, so 20 inches is right here. I hope that you guys can see that. I'm going to mark 20 inches in a few spots down my cardboard. So there's my first 20-inch marker. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to mark it again somewhere in the middle. And I'm going to mark it again somewhere at the end. I'm sure you guys are seeing my hair in there instead of my cardboard, but I think you see everything. So I've made my 20-inch markers down my cardboard. The next step is that I'm going to connect them with a straight level line. It was important that I marked it in 3 different spots before I connected them, so I was sure that it was accurate. I would never want to just take my ruler and put it on my cardboard and be like, yeah, that looks good. I would never want to be in a structure that was created that way or measured that way. So I'm going to make sure that it's lined up on this edge, and I'm going to make sure it's lined up on the far edge. It is, I can see that. I'm going to show you guys in steps how I'm going to draw this. But now I'm going to take my pencil and just draw down my cardboard. So I did it half, and now I'm going to finish the other. Whoops. So that's a little lesson on what happens if it moves. So maybe your partner can be holding the yardstick for you as you draw, or the meter stick for you as you draw. Okay, so I have 20 inches marked. I'm now going to divide this up into 8-inch segments so that I can create each of the panels of my food truck. So let's see. I'm going to make sure the end of my yardstick is flush with the end of the cardboard. That's really important. That's where the numbers start, right here. They don't start in here, they don't start out here. That's not going to give me an accurate measurement. I want to make sure it's right on the edge. And if one of you is holding the yardstick, one of you should be double checking. You should be quality control and make sure that's correct. So there's my 8 inches. Now I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to make sure the edge of my yardstick is flush with the end of my cardboard. I'm going to mark 8 inches. And now I can connect those. So there is one panel. So now I've created one of my long faces of my food truck. So I'm going to do it again. This time, when we did our measuring on these papers, we left a gap in between. On our cardboard, we're not going to leave a gap. They're going to butt right up against each other. So here's the end of my first face. Here's the start of my next one. I'm going to make sure that the edge of my yardstick is with the end of this line, of the long line of the one that I just drew, and I'm going to make a mark at 8. And I'm going to come up here. I'm going to make a mark at 8. And then I'm going to connect them. And I'm going to keep doing that until I have 4 faces. So again, I'm going to make a mark at 8. And I'm just going to double check that you guys can see that. I also want to check to make sure that my measurement was correct. I think it was. Oh, good. You guys can see that. And I'm gonna make a mark up here at 8. And I'm gonna connect them. So I have 3 done. I need 1 more because we know that we have 4 long rectangular faces and 2 square faces. So make my mark at 8. Make my mark at 8. And again, you'll notice I'm doing it in 2 spots so that I can be sure that it's accurate. I'm not just gonna throw my yardstick on the cardboard and be like, yeah, that's probably close enough. Okay, now, it would be interesting if this last one was 8 inches, but I think it might be just short. It is, so I can't unfortunately use this piece to make my last 2 squares. So what I need to do is put them down here. But what I can do is use this line and this line as the starting points for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 8, and I'm just going to check to make sure that you guys can see that. Oh, you can't see that, so I'm going to move it a little bit. So here we go. I'm going to mark 8 inches, and right about here I'm going to mark 8 inches. I have to make sure that this end of the yardstick is even with this end of the ruler. It's important that you go ahead and double check those measurements so that everything is even. And now I'm going to connect these. And I need to get in these 2 lines, so I'm going to mark 8 and 8. And connect them. And I'm going to mark 8. So I'm putting the 8 of my ruler on the line. I could have swung it around and put the end of my ruler, the very beginning of the numbers, on the line and then marked it. And then 8. And then I'm going to connect them. Okay. So I now have my 4 faces and my, I'm going to move them so you guys can see, my 4 sides and top and bottom and my front and my back. I'm now ready to cut these pieces, and that's where it gets a little tricky. Here's our potential cutting tools. We have a cardboard cutters, which I know you guys enjoy using. We have some cardboard scissors, and these utility scissors, which I really like. They really cut some heavy-duty things nicely. I'm going to start with the cardboard cutters because I think they're going to make the job the easiest, but in the event that they're not available, there'll be other things that you can use as well. So here I go. I'm going to start the end of my cardboard. I'm going to really make sure that the cardboard cutter is lined up on the line I want to cut, because if you're off here, it's going to impact the size of this and the size of this. So you really want to make sure that they are lined up. And I'm going to start cutting. Holding the cardboard as straight as I can. It does get tricky as you get into the thick part of the cardboard. You almost have to push it through. What can make that a little easier, and I'm going to take this out now, is it's actually hard to get it out. Whoops. Is once you get one part cut, you can come in on this line right here and cut up and meet it where you left off. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to show you guys that if I can. See my cardboard, it's hard for me to fit it. Actually, I think I'll go this way. So now again, I'm making sure the cardboard cutter is lined up, and I'm going slow so that I stay on my line. I kind of have to push it a little bit. Okay, so there I now have one face of my cardboard cut out, and you're going to do that for all of your other pieces. Once you're done cutting it out, I want you to label it with the side that it is. So say this is my top, and your names. I'm Ms. Nasser and Mrs. Dealey. We're a design team, and our class code. We'll say that we are 5AI. Our class code is Artivation Innovation, but you'll either write A or whoever class your class code is. So each one of your rectangles should be labeled what side it is, your names and your class codes. Okay. Have at it and make it work.